Hello, welcome to episode 17 of The Good, the Bad and the Blessings when facing mortality. Sorry it's been a while. After my last video, I got caught with the flu, and then after that, I went and started radiation, and that really took its toll on me. I'm still recovering from it. It's been a week and a half now since I had the last treatment. I had 5 treatments. My body's been quite inflamed from it all. But this episode is not on that. This episode is on love. And I wasn't sure whether to have a topic like this. The reason I've got the topic, on the day I told my bosses, remember I had 3, about the situation I was in, I wrote back to the big boss that evening and I said, look, what I'm trying to say is I don't know what I can do anymore, from a work perspective. And he wrote back saying, don't worry, it's all under control. We're wanting you to work on Project GCWA. And that was called Project Get Chris Well Again. So I spent the next year being sponsored by work to see if I could try and save myself. So that leads me to the next piece to this love puzzle, and that is, where does love fit into this? So I ended up catching up on one of the days I went into work after I'd had all the treatments previously. I caught up with my immediate boss, and he said, what are the 3 things you've learned on this journey so far? And I said, to be of service, and I've covered a video on that, and to forgive. Life's too short. The majority of the world's problems would go away, which brings me to love. And I didn't realize how loved I was until I was diagnosed with this disease, and the offers of support and help of friends and family who just wanted to be there for me was really beautiful, really lovely. And that almost sounds like a bit of a shame, doesn't it? That it took a disease for me to realize how loved I was. It's not a case that I wasn't loved. It's a case that I didn't have my eyes open to it. I was too busy. I was too busy living life. I was too busy trying to keep up with myself in my own little world of work and home life that everything else, I guess, was secondary. And I can't be the only one who feels that way at times. So what I found was that the love is always out there. You just have to open your eyes to it. And you have to operate from here as well. A lot of us operate from the head because that's what we're taught to do, with each other even, with each other. And we are taught to operate like this because we go to school, and before we know it, we are taught competition. We are taught to compete amongst each other. If there is a winner, everyone else is a loser, unless, of course, there's 2nd and 3rd place. But otherwise, you have winners in a race, and you have those who are losers. And life isn't like that. We can all participate in this game of life, and we can all be considerate of each other in this game of life, but we don't have to do it at the cost of others. And this pertains to work as well. We get a job, and sometimes there can be competing roles, and those roles, competing for information, competing to get the ideas out there first, to go. Now those, when you work like that, you can do it as a team effort and work together and collaboratively, and that's what a lot of organisations, are trying to do in terms of you celebrate the team effort, but then there is always someone who shines, and should that person who shines shine at the cost of the others? It's a huge debate, because again, it puts us into this competitive arena, that if you get a promotion, that means I won't. And that means I won't get extra money. And that means, how do I get ahead? We have all these scenarios going on in our head. And therefore, it's hard to, in an office environment as well, it is actually hard to come from the heart when the only way to get ahead, typically career-wise, is to compete against each other, against others. So love impacts all of us. The Black Eyed Peas sang a song called Where Is the Love? And that song, I think, is really apt to society as it is, because we are not showing love towards each other. There is so, I don't know, there's so much animosity and anger and fear out there now. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. It feels like it's getting worse. It feels like, yeah, it's like the love is just being taken away. People are criticizing other races. Actually, I'm not going to go there, because that's a huge topic in itself, and I'm not doing that on this journey. I guess what I'm just trying to say is, we seem to be operating less and less from here and filling our heads with, why we shouldn't forgive somebody, why we shouldn't help somebody, why we shouldn't love somebody. I believe in God, and my belief in God has got me through this, because I believe I am unconditionally loved by God. The words conditional and unconditional mean, with unconditional, I'll love you if. Unconditional is I'll love you regardless, and conditional is I'll love you if. Now, we might not like behaviours of other people, but that does not mean to say we don't love them. As I said, I believe we all come from God, and with that all coming from God, that makes us all related. For those who believe, we are all brothers and sisters. We are all brethren. We all come from this great source. And here we are trying to operate from love and struggling with it. But if someone's my brother or my sister through God, then if I attack them, I'm attacking myself, because everyone is a reflection of ourselves. We are all in each other's lives to I think one of the reasons is to reflect certain aspects of ourselves. And therefore, if we want our lives to go, well, we have to get rid of the conditions on love and make love unconditional. And that takes us back to forgiveness, because Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do," as he was being hung on the cross. The Romans had mastered the cruelest way to kill somebody. And Buddha said, forgive them. To understand all is to forgive all. So when we've really walked a mile or something in someone else's moccasins, when we've really walked their path, we are less judgmental, and we are more forgiving. So, and therefore we're operating from love. So if I was on the motorway coming home from, say, a chemo treatment or a radiation treatment, and say my mind just went into this I feel sorry for myself mode, I might be driving slow and someone else toots at me. They can obviously toot at me. That's cool, because I'm hindering them from where they need to get to. Yeah, I need to get there too, to my destination. But I sort of think if we really knew what was going on in other people's lives, not that I think we want to, I think we've got enough stuff going on in our own lives, but if we really understood what's going on in others' lives, we'd be more forgiving and more loving when it comes to things like traffic and support and our thoughts. Another thing Jesus said was for those who are judging others, when they were going to stone the woman, he said to them, whoever hasn't sinned can cast the first stone. And they all walked away because none of them hadn't sinned. We've all done things wrong in our lives, and we would love to have forgiveness for those things that we've done wrong. And we should equally be wanting to forgive others who have wronged us. We are human. We're going to get things wrong. But I think if our fundamental thinking is that we want to operate from love, then all our responses, our actions and our words and even our thoughts have to come from the heart. The question being, is that what the heart would do? Is that what the heart would say? And it's a really hard thing to check in on ourselves, but it's worth it. We don't need to accumulate more stuff to feel bad about. I think we need to empty and get rid of the stuff by not adding to any more and starting to operate from a different modus operandi. So, can we only love someone else when we love ourselves? In an airplane, they say, put your own mask on first before putting on those around you. So, that implies that, apart from being in a plane, of course, is that you need to look after yourself to be able to look after others. So you need to love yourself before you can love others. Because if you have hang-ups about your own inadequacies, how can you not project them at times onto other people? We have to be forgiving of ourselves, and we have to love ourselves, because the only way for us to love others is to realize that we are not perfect ourselves, and to be more gentle with ourselves, and then we can start to be gentle with other people around us. As I said, we don't have to like other people's behaviors. We don't even have to like our own behaviors at times, because we are human. The question is, or not the question, but the thing is that we always try and continuously improve. And I think the only way we can continuously improve is to keep asking ourselves to operate from the heart. Black Eyed Peas song, Where is the Love? It's just, true. Where we've got anger, animosity, manipulation going on in the world, fear, scarcity, that's why I compete. We have all these reasons to say why we cannot operate from here. They're all crap. They are all crap. They are things that have been indoctrinated into us. We can operate from love. We don't have to operate from anything else but love. And I think operating from love will start to open our eyes as to what's going on in this world. So love isn't conditional. Behavior, liking someone can be, but loving shouldn't be conditional, because we are all connected, and we're projecting what we think for others is what we think about ourselves. For those who believe in God or believe in a powerful source, we are all connected. So, as I said at the beginning, for me not to see the love was my eyes closed. I know I'm loved. And you know what? Even if I'm not, I've learned to love myself so much more. This body was crying out for love. On that note, I shall say thank you, and hopefully I won't make it so long before I see you again. I'm getting tired, as I think I've said previously, so it just all depends on what's going on for me. Anyway, take care. Love you. Namaste.